The Lazy Man's Guide to Enlightenment by Thaddeus Golas. Chapter 2. Look Ma, I'm enlightened. What do you do to become enlightened? What are the signs that you are succeeding? How does your life change as you become more enlightened? There is nothing you need to do first in order to become enlightened. All potential experiences are within you already. You can open up to them at any time, faster than instantaneously, just by being there. But there's no hurry. Total expansion is always there, beyond time, within you and around you. You need only open your awareness at the pace you find safe and comfortable. If LSD is too fast, go slower. This is home. We all belong to the universe. Nothing gets in our way, but most of us are likely to open up in stages, gradually. We tend to go up in cycles of emotion. After each burst of euphoric realization, we may hit a new and different kind of negativity, and the next thing we need to learn to love is presented to us. However, the higher you go, the easier it gets. The experience of complete awareness, being space, does not mean being presently conscious of every detail in the universe, of every possible relationship between limited and withdrawn entities. Being space is a readiness to be aware fully of anything conceivable. It means we have no resistance and no denial of any concept or relationship. Therefore, to achieve enlightenment, we are not required to gather any particular set of ideas or experiences, virtues, or even sufferings. Anything that exists can be experienced with a completely expanded awareness. Regardless of how you've limited your awareness, you are a free and self-determined being. No other live being nor any group of beings can control your vibration level. So there's nothing in the universe, especially the physical part of it, that can counter your free will. This means that the physical world has no power over you whatsoever. It does not tempt you, it doesn't corrupt you, it doesn't get in the way of your enlightenment. It doesn't do anything to you. You are the sole cause of your level of existence. Your internal condition is never programmed. The experience of being forced or controlled against your will can only occur when you make yourself vibrationally dense, when you contract your awareness. Our reality at any level consists of whatever unique conscious beings we perceive as alive, and the process of enlightenment is expanding our comprehension of other beings until we experience everything as a live interaction. The more we withdraw from loving other beings, the more of a physical world we will contend with, the more mass-obsessed we will become. On the other hand, the more we open up to our brothers and sisters, the less solid the world becomes. Enlightenment is any experience of expanding our consciousness beyond its present limits. We could also say that perfect enlightenment is realizing that we have no limits at all and that the entire universe is alive. The difficulty in writing about it and in all efforts to tell how to achieve it comes of trying to use limited terms to talk about going beyond limits. To be enlightened is to be in a state of flexible awareness and open mind. Enlightenment is the very process of expanding, not of arriving at a different set of limits. There is no one correct way of looking at life after enlightenment. We are not obliged to be or not to be anything as long as in our hearts and minds we are whole. What does it mean to be whole? It means that we must be willing to conceive of, to contain within ourselves whatever is other than any limited idea. It means knowing that when we emphasize a positive, we are at the same time creating a negative. When we choose an ideal of knowledge, then we must deal with the ignorance that is other than that knowledge. When we emphasize an ideal of holiness, then we must live with the sin that is its companion and accept our responsibility for having created it. If we deny doing so, that is a contradiction of awareness. We become dense, we become mass-level entities, we become incarnated in our physical bodies. And we cannot control what we have denied creating. It is forced into our attention, whether we like it or not, and so it's possible for us to live in a world of sin and ignorance. However, if we remain constantly open and unresisting to such negatives, we are not compelled to dwell upon them. If we allow that ugliness is always within us, then we are free to create beauty. If we know that stupidity is always with us, then we are free to emphasize this intelligence. Love is the highest and holiest action because it always contains that which is not love within itself. It always and ever moves to include the unloving. How often we try to figure out a cause and effect sequence in our experiences when what is really happening is merely a swing of alternating conditions. We may choose a negative task like monastic discipline and then feel rewarded, or conversely, we may pursue a seductive pleasure and feel cheated. We never stand back to see that we are just swinging like pendulums. And many of us insist on thinking of ourselves as only good and kind and wise. We try to be pendulums that swing only to one side. The remedy for this confusion is to be loving, to experience life without mental resistance, until we rise above mass and energy to the space level. On that level, where love is constant and our awareness is open, we will more easily comprehend the miracle of containing contradictions, opposites, and paradoxes. We will be free to experience what we choose because we will not deny that we will always contain everything other than our choice. Karma is not paying for exactly what you did in the past. It's just that as you raise your vibrational level, you may encounter the kind of experiences you withdrew from in the past, or you may run into something other than what you're insisting on right now. If you close your mind, you will drop back to a lower vibration. However, if you look calmly at undesired events, absorb them mentally, and love yourself for disliking them, you will keep going higher. You might say that for a while you have to take your bum trip with you. As you deal with and love each new disturbing phenomenon, you will begin to realize that none of the threatening evil that bothered you has disappeared from the world, but your compulsive feelings of dismay and helplessness will be gone, and you will learn how to steer your way around or through turbulent vibrations. And in time, they won't happen to you anymore. You will see how you can change your emotions and experiences by understanding their relation to your awareness level. For instance, if your feelings fade after a deeply loving experience with someone, which is especially likely if you were high on marijuana or LSD at the time, you can understand it as a fading out of being in the same space now that you are both vibrating on a lower level again. When you know that, and you know that the low mood can pass just as easily as it came on, you are less likely to make big decisions and get into arguments because of it. You just relax your mind and watch it go by. Currently, Many of us are experiencing temporary highs and flashes of illumination, especially if there are psychedelics available. If things get weird in new ways after such euphoric times, you need not be disturbed. It may be a sign that you are going higher still. Meanwhile, we should realize that we tend to return to the vibration level where we feel stable, something that we can live with. It's this level of stability, the level where we feel ourselves to be comfortably on the same vibration with others, that needs to be changed. And that can only be done through an unresisting state of mind, a constantly expanding love. It's quite natural in pursuing enlightenment, or just in trying to be happy, or to look to your everyday experiences for signs of results. Indeed, your daily life is nothing else but an expression of your spiritual condition. Your life will change as you become more loving, but not in ways that you can exactly predict. What happens is not as important as how you react to what happens. There is a good attitude to take towards any goal. It's nice if it happens, and it's nice if it doesn't happen. Long before you get to where you can confidently make choices for the future, you may find that you are no longer interested in predicting much. You won't mind letting go of one beautiful experience, because love will make the next one just as rewarding. Similarly, there isn't much specific advice to be given about what enlightened existence should be on Earth, and I'm reluctant to make glowing predictions about what is possible. As we have seen, as soon as we are completely willing to create a condition, it changes into something else if our minds are blocked to alternatives. On our mass level, that something else is often likely to be unpleasant, and as soon as we try to withdraw from our feelings about it, we are stuck with it. That's one way to explain why ideal and beautiful events vanish from our lives, and bad and dull events last, and the same applies in predicting a rosy future. But no matter how vague and unwieldy that process seems, love will overcome it. It can be safely predicted that as you grow more loving of yourself and others, you will in this lifetime begin seeing every person and object as a perfect form, just the way they are now. You will feel a rich pleasure in every moment, and since beauty is really in the eye of the beholder, your vibrations will be beautiful too.